Welcome back to Reality After Show. It's that time of the week again. Triangles up. This is our destiny. We are back with coverage of Australian Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains, episodes 10 through 12. As always, as we've been here all season long, I'm Dan Montchal, joined with Alex Trias, stand-up comedian Wayne Memmott, and our queen, Chrissy Zaremba.
Yeah.
Another week, everyone.
Wow.
Oh man, what a week. I feel like I'm like training. You know how like when athletes train, they'll like do things heavier. Like baseball players will have like heavy weights on their bat. I feel like watching Australian Survivor, I'm like training for American Survivor. And when American Survivor gets here, I'm gonna be like, only one episode, an hour, a week? What are we doing here?
In the words of our boy Stevie, we are not going to lose today. What a week. What a week. They don't miss some great moments, some sad moments, but we're going to get into all of that today.
So many moments.
Before we dive in, I just want to give a shout out to all you listeners, viewers, whether you're watching it now or afterwards. We have had so much amazing feedback, a lot of good numbers, and so thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we all love you. So
I'm going to take credit. It's the Wayne Memmott bump. No, I'm just kidding. It's all Chrissy.
I'm the stand-up comedian. Come on, man.
It's all Chrissy.
So, episode 10, Wayne, what's our title?
Yep. Oh, God, you guys are going to hate it, but I love it. The Joke is Back. That's the title of this one. And I wrote that before I knew. I write them as they come across. So I wrote that before I knew the result of the episode. I wrote that because Jordy in an early edit said, like, the Joker's back. And I was like, I don't care what happens this episode. That's the title of this episode.
I put in here is the Joker got stitched up.
Oh, the Joker got stitched up. That's good.
So we go into it. It starts out Hero Beach. We see, it's the aftermath of the last tribal council, and it's King George and the new Queen Shawnee are running that tribe, and they have their faithful, Jerry and Stevie that are with them. And what Shawnee's most happy about is,
oh, there you go.
Okay.
What she's the most happy about is that they can finally have crispy rice.
Yeah, no more of the soggy, soft rice. I can eat Crispies whenever I want because Paige is gone and God doesn't like Paige.
I don't care what you say. The food is a big deal. When you guys go on this show, you can sit here and be all cocky. If they want crunchy rice, it means they are at absolute breaking point.
I was going to say, like, how important I would imagine. I live in a house with a community around me, and I love crunchy rice. Like, when I cook my rice, I make sure there's crunchy rice on the bottom. I cannot imagine living with somebody that would not allow us to have crunchy rice. I would kill them. I would vote them out first.
What, you don't like baby mush?
No, I barely like rice. I only like the crispy parts. I fry all rice.
This is what my life's come to. Survivor lets you leave such a normal person. I watch how they eat it to see how it's being cooked. Like, are they scooping? Are they mushing? Are they chopsticking? What? Like, get a life, Chrissy. God.
That's so funny. What's the best? When you see that they're doing this? How do you like? Is it the chopstick? Huh?
You want little individual pieces cooked to perfection because it's got to last. That's 5 hours.
Right. So when they're chopsticking, that's generally the sign that, like, that's the good rice.
If they're in like this and she's cluggy and bally, someone's wrecked the food.
That's why Khan is such an asset, because he knows how to season with whatever he's got. He can pick some little onions from the grass on the island and make it.
You know what? Khan and Jordy can both relate after this episode. But we're sticking with the heroes. We're sticking with the heroes. And Dan, I know the next part is the thing that we should be discussing. And it's the suddenly, allegedly, George and Shiny are getting all the offers from the other heroes. And I definitely want to dig more into it, but I want you to Paint the
Well,
picture
so
for
we
us.
do have. We'll jump back to that. So we see the intro, and the next scene we actually get is back on Villain Beach, and it's day 20. And I don't know if he's been wearing it the entire time, but I finally noticed Simon's Bloody Ripper shirt. And
Yes.
all I need to say is going into this is I was never down on Simon. I thought he was getting somewhat of a bad edit, but all I have to say now, and I told you this earlier this week, is damn you, Chrissy. Because you talk about how great of a guy he is. I was able to interact with him a little bit over the weekend. He's so nice. He's so genuine. And he said he has so much tea to spill. So we're going to get him a little bit later on to talk about all this. But all I thought is, damn you, Chrissy. I like this guy so much now. And what they're doing to him is breaking my
I'm not
heart.
a loser. The only thing I'm good at is knowing good people. That's the only thing I can say that I did well on that damn show is pick the good people.
Hey, it's one of the best things you can do on that show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just echo that. I'll say I've probably been a little harsher on Simon because I wasn't a big fan of his gameplay early on, but after these 3 episodes, I'm like, yeah, they're giving him. They don't have a doofus in this episode, and they're giving him the doofus edit majorly. And we need to read through that when evaluating the whole thing. Is that they're editing around a lot of things.
He knows he said some of it and he led into it, and he's still, when you watch him, you can still hear glimpses of genius. Whether Jordy says he was playing a game that Jordy didn't like, or it doesn't matter what all the post sort of interviews say. Simon's out there to hustle, and sometimes the edit gets in the way of that. Sometimes it doesn't, but he's owning it.
Like Johnny, I'll bring it all back to wrestling. Simon went on there to play the heel to George's hero. They're painting George as a villain, but George is the hero of the season. They are editing him to be like, everybody should be rooting for George the whole way through.
Yeah.
And Simon is the heel to George's hero.
Yep.
You know what? I sort of have a hot take to go off of that. I don't think they're painting anyone as a hero.
You reckon?
No, I think they have a bunch of people that can be very polarizing. I don't think the hero has truly risen up yet. And it's a bunch of different evil factors in play. George is a villain. You can love a villain and idolize him as a hero, but he is a villain.
Oh, I reckon
Johnny,
you mean like the hero of the show.
Right.
They're
Sean's not a hero this season.
We're all watching this because we're watching George. Survivor is editing this because this is Survivor season George. Whatever, it's heroes versus villains, but so far it's season George.
Yep.
But I think these 3 episodes in particular, especially with the next time on, is showing us they're building the people that I think are actually going to be in the end game. And the end game, I don't believe, based off what they're showing us, I don't believe it's George. I don't believe it's Simon. I don't believe it's Sean or Haley. Yep. I think it's these other factions that are starting to be created. Yeah, it's Nina. Liz. It's Liz. Yeah. It's like Matt. It could be Stevie.
Yep.
I know, because where have these guys been? I'm so glad we've delved in to Stevie. I'm so glad we've gone here already, because we have all been saying this whole time, God, are we seeing anyone else? Like, if you didn't like George, you wouldn't be watching Survivor at the moment. If you didn't like him, why would you watch? He is the show. But then now we're starting to see, even David and Nina have got a relationship. We didn't even know those two are on the show.
David got a confessional this week.
I think there's only 2 points in my notes, the 3 episodes where everything's in all caps. The first one is we're finally getting some Nina. The other was David got a confessional.
Yeah.
Well, there's another thing you should have had emphasized heading into episode 12. And it'll be a surprising one for me, given my reaction these first few weeks.
Oh, you're doing a 180 on Sam, aren't you?
I might be.
No, get out of here.
I might be.
You can't be a
Hey, I'm flexible. I'm flexible.
You can't be flexible. You've single-handedly bullied him for 5 weeks.
Hey, I can switch on a dime.
We get comments every week of being like, I'm not a huge fan of Sam, but I think I like him better than Alex does.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe how it goes. I'm not a tattoo guy. Maybe you'll be seeing me with a web shoulder tattoo to match him. Who knows?
Stevie and Webby will be the 1 and 2, and we have to get white glasses and a web tattoo.
Okay, you're pushing it. I didn't say he's winning.
You might even have one. Lift your shirt off, Alex.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Wait for me to actually get on Survivor.
So the last thing that we have here is Liz just talks about how she misses Shawnee. That's, her best friend, her sister. But then we go back to Hero Beach, and Alex, this is what you were mentioning, we have the complete 180 where it's all of the original heroes one by one coming up and making their pitches to some combination of George and someone else.
Right. So in this episode in particular, I was a little worried about George's read on it, but we see in episode 11, like, he gets back into a train of thought, because I was like, if multiple people are coming up to you, especially someone who in your previous season tried to vote you out several times, and suddenly, like, who is the most loyal player, the most hero type of role you could be, and going, I could be a double agent for you, just keep me around. And I'm like, okay, you're next. Like, bye. Yeah. Like, in theory, because it's sort of meant between 10 and 11, so I'm apologizing for jumping all over the place. Ben should have been the best spot of this group. Like, but he just played everything wrong ever since this swap happened.
Because Jordy even has this comment here where he says, Ben's at rock bottom, but I'm willing to let him prove his worth. Though Stevie does say it's all bullshit, but like you would think that Ben.
Yeah, but George was considering it. Yeah.
He's considering it, but like all Ben did was like, well, this is why I tried to blindside you. Where he should, like we said it last week, he should have jumped when Jerry and all of them gave him the chance. He should have jumped with them.
Yeah.
He should have jumped back when it was either Paige or Sharni, and they worked to vote out Sharni instead of Paige. Like, I was very surprised when he landed on Paige's side and not Sharni and Jerry's side, because if they have 3 going into it, they can usually probably find one other person to vote out.
To be in the majority.
I think his ultimate flaw is he tried to play too conservative. He didn't like, because he's a smart guy. You can tell he's a smart guy. He's reading his options, but he feels like the heroes still have the majority numbers overall. So if I help take heroes out, then what good am I? I'm a pariah come merge.
Right.
So I need to stick with them. I don't believe he was truly loyal, but he's just like, he put himself in such a bad position. I was sad for him.
He was quintessentially playing to be like the final 7 or whatever, like he's the
too far ahead. He was too far.
Yeah. And then to get, another George quote, because we haven't had one yet. It's right after, Matt comes up. He goes, this is like the Congo line walking up to the king. Save me, sire. Save me.
Save me, sire. Save me.
He had an accent.
Was phenomenal.
He's so good. He's so come and take a number at the deli.
Right. Like, and like, he's a polarizing person. Like, you love him or hate him. One thing you know is he will run into the bit. And he's great at it.
Oh, how the turntables.
How the
turntables.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I do love it when George is in like a power position. I mean, it's fun to watch him scramble when he's like the next one to be voted out week to week, but I also enjoy watching when he gets his like, I'm in the power seat right now. This episode, I'm in charge.
I think his ability to literally hold on to his allies, no matter what's happening around him, like even to just pull Stevie into line. Stevie's throwing around all these numbers that didn't make sense, and George still has the ability to go, pull it up, listen up. Although we do see a little clip of Liz. Yeah, you put those on when I'm talking to you, Stevie. We've got a little clip of Liz saying, she's a bit, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's in 12. I'm getting a bit sick of Georgie throwing his weight around. So let's see.
So, I have predictions. I don't think anything like that happens next week. I think it's what AU can do well sometimes. Not all the time, because the edit can be very scattered. I feel they do a decently good job with the long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
But it's like stuff where they'll just throw things out there, and then 2 weeks later, the payoff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, we spent 3 weeks with the cookie idol.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they want as well. Like we've only just met Liz, and all of a sudden she's getting a very nice.
And I love it. All I can say is, I said week one. I said two of the best newbie players that were going to leave this season, and we'll remember their names, were Jerry and Liz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jerry, here's another one. We haven't gone there. You know, like these people that are just coming in with little digs and little 2-minute little spiels. They, you know, they're big comments.
Yep.
Yeah. So this takes us right into the reward challenge. It's more back of a Survivor Classic. You know, they're in the water. There's a track going, through the water, and it's 4v4. You're carrying a portion of your body weight, and your job is to track down the other. You can drop. You just need to hand off your weight to someone else who's currently going. And there's really not much to talk about in this challenge because it's a slaughter.
So the one thing I always thought about with Australian Survivor that they do it differently than how the US did it was like they give some dry land, whereas in US it was even. You were always in water. It could have been different levels, but you're always in water. I felt like this, once it's set up with some land, I was like, well, you knew already. The new hero tribe was going to lose and not get close at winning.
No.
And then when you've got athletes pulling out on the first two legs, you know that's only going to be Simon's and your Sean's left, because for Liz to pull out and Haley, like those girls are fit as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and they're carrying these bags knee deep in water. That sand is heavy. You're gassed. You've got no energy. Like we knew it was going to be a whitewash. As soon as I saw it, I went, "Oh God, here we go."
Yeah, it's like, why even show it? I hope this wasn't one where they had a bunch of rounds we didn't see.
Oh, they definitely did. They definitely did.
They definitely would have, but it would have still been that same narrative. Like, there's no way that. Well, you put us together. Like, it doesn't matter. You know who's going to win. It's not me.
Yeah, there's one moment where it's all the men. So it's Simon and Sam and Sean. And then the other side, and look at the other side. It's
George,
Jerry, Ben, and
Jerry,
George.
Jerry and Ben.
And then Jordy, we've got this. Right. We've got this.
Yeah, he goes, Superman. That's what you are, Stevie and Jerry.
Stevie. I love that whenever he says Stevie always goes and flexes and smiles.
So I had a comment and a question. Comment is, George is taking every opportunity in a challenge to motivate his teammates. They keep showing it. And I think it's those little things, because if they're showing that, there's probably a lot more of that happening that we're not seeing, to like those little moments to build the trust. It's not the like, finally I need you, so we have a conversation. It's like, no, I've been motivating you, Stevie, this whole time. We're on the same tribe.
I'm so glad, because I remember thinking, God, Georgie is really cheering. And in two of them, I even said to Simon, do you cheer? Like, have you got these guys' backs? And he's like, we cheer the whole time. We are up in their grill. Go, go, go. But all I can hear is Georgie in pure silence. Well done, Liz. Yeah, Great job, Stevie. You know, like.
My next question is this. Does the new heroes go into this and be like, no fucking chance. We just take the loss. Go enjoy your reward and save our energy for the immunity challenge. Like, is that something where the producers, Chrissy, maybe you can answer this, where they would be like, no, you can't do that. We're like, well, no, but we're not. Like, just go out there, just drop your weights.
You can do that.
We literally saw them talk about in episode 11 where George and Shine were very much debating, like, do we just literally just sit down?
Right. We're not going to meet the improved meat tray with Simon, the meat tray and Simon. We're not going to.
Well, the thing you could say, though, is I can give at least like a half effort. We know we're going to lose, but at least let's make them expend energy.
Yeah.
Because you never know what could happen.
Right.
Yeah, true. That's valid as well.
Sean could hit like a weird hole in the water and twist his ankle. Yeah. If you make him put any type of effort in. Injuries can happen.
That is
when you lead into it like that storyline of throwing challenges and pulling out and quitting, it's not respected in Survivor, I don't think.
No,
So,
it's not, especially not in Australian Survivor.
No way. We did it.
No.
We threw one and look at the shit show that occurred.
Yeah.
My croc went home. So I don't think it's got a good name, and it's not sort of something that they respect, because they were pissed when Shonny and George weren't pushing the block and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing that we really got out of this was, it's over. Villains win. They get the Australian breakfast.
Oh,
and
Brecky.
all that you really see is Shawnee talking about how she needs Liz and Jordy in this game. And so she's debating, like, if I need to give him the idol, then I will.
And this is also, this week in particular, so much within the challenge chat. Because it was during the running where like Shawnee and Liz are talking about, hey, if you lose, like I have two idols, or I have another idol, I can give you one.
I've got this, do this.
Liz is like talking about it. She's like, yeah, we might need it.
This is very different. This was not allowed.
That's what I wanted to ask, because like they've never shown something like this, like an American Survivor. Like there's like maybe one or two opportunities that have happened where it matters that they showed it, where there's like cross tribal pollination, but like Australian Survivor, like it seems like they've just been separate.
It's nearly like they're not getting enough time and they're not getting enough on camera, so they're letting it go. But we were silent, no talking, go, heroes, or whatever we were called, blood versus water, go, blood, you're out of here. And like I'd go to Croc, she's a snake, get rid of her. Like I'd do some sign, like we're in trouble here, whatever.
It's just so interesting because
talking.
I feel like so much of this match chat, or not, it's not even match chat, it's like during the challenge chat, post challenge chat.
All the challenge is on.
It's like, if I'm playing, I get it, because it is strategic, because that's the best opportunity where maybe you can catch everyone slipping. They're paying attention to the challenge. Let me go talk to them. Because like you see while they're talking, Haley and Nina are talking to Flick behind the flag.
Yeah.
And but they don't see that Shawnee and Liz are talking. And it's crazy.
I'll say, as a fan as just a pure like fan of Survivor, I am way into like the game within the game. Like in American Survivor, they've gone away from like hiding immunity idols at challenges and stuff like that. Like they used to like, and for a while there wasn't even a clue. There was just like people fumbling and they found an immunity idol at a challenge, and now they started giving clues to like look under here or whatever, and they've gone away from that. But I like when there's like extra things in the challenge. Like if you're a smart Survivor player, you're thinking about it. If you're not, you're like sitting on the sideline like, yeah, go Stevie, go, or what. But other people are like strategizing in the back. It's like another level, especially for all these players that are very good
in the game. So true. Yeah. I just remember like if I needed, like if I wanted to say something to Josh when he went over to Red, like, oh, I'm still with Jesse or whatever, they would be like, that's enough, Chrissy, back. Like you couldn't even, it was never going to make camera, let alone, it just wasn't a thing. So I reckon, because this season is so strategic, so savage and strategic, they're getting some of the best stuff off air.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's giving them the best opportunities to create those moments. Like, it's like episode 10 doesn't happen if you're not allowed to have that interaction.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we go back to the villain camp. They say they're buzzing off coffee, and this is where Liz says, I don't even think they notice if I'm really here on this tribe. And so she sneaks off, finds an idol.
That's my girl. That's my girl. That's my newbie. That is
Jordy.
Going to be remembered.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is someone who is a big foodie. Like she is you can tell by looking at her, food is definitely a part of her functioning.
Yeah, she's a track girl. Track and swimming. Those are the two sports where it's like your calories are monumental because it's just how much you expend.
And if you're
find it.
Yeah, if you're that level, you're an Olympic person, about tracking calories. Like you're very good about that. Like, oh, I need calories to do this. And I know how many calories are in what I'm about to eat. And I know how many I need to try and intake during this, like whatever 2 hours, hour and a half that I have to eat as much as I can.
100%.
Yeah. But at this
Yeah.
point, like Liz is like everything's going the villain's way because Liz now has an idol, and she reveals it to Jordy and says to Jordy, "We can get Shawnee to hand over her idol. We can have
Hers.
2 idols, and Simon has his idol." Like this is some like Caramo and Three Amigos type shit where they could have potentially forced the heroes to eat themselves alive.
Yeah.
But understanding where Simon feels about everyone and his placement in the tribe, you cannot blame him for what's about to happen. I wouldn't have done it, but I understand his position.
Yeah, so that leads us right into, Sean and Sam are talking, and then I don't know why Sam was the one that came and talking because I'm
still down on Sam at this episode.
Caffeinated Sam was the cringiest moment of the season so far, by the way. Just fully caffeinated Sam was definitely...
Well, and how would that have felt that finally when, Simon's like, okay, I'll do it, but I'll only give my idol to Sean. Like, not you who came over and made the pitch. I'll only give it to Sean.
So mean.
So,
sorry, Webby.
Sean tells Simon, like, I swear on my kids' lives that I'll take you to merge if you give us the idol. And this is where you see all the back and forth. And then, they come up with the plan of giving it to Flick.
But here's, I love Simon's part of it, of like, because at the time of you thinking you know what it is, taking that extra step and be like, not only can I be a number for you, I want to show that I can bring some strategic value to you.
Yeah.
So not only am I willing to give it away, I'm allowing you to send it cross tribe to get someone else that we both want out of the game out. I am going to dog on Sam here, though. Sam, you don't know how effing because we can't say F on here. Patronizing it is to sit your boy down for a chat on the beach and go, okay, buddy, the rest of us had to talk and we have come to a consensus. Yeah. You're in, bud. But in order for you to show that you can trust us and we can trust you,
you're gonna have
if you have an idol, you need to give it to us or we are going to vote you out.
Yeah. And this is where, as they're talking, they're going. And I guess, Simon still feels good with Stevie because they're just like, like you need to tell like the other tribe, like have them give the triangle, this is your destiny. And then the thing that I thought
friends,
So I was so confused by this part because I felt like that bridge was burned.
No, it was. I think so too.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that either because I felt like Stevie would have been like, what are you doing? Like, we're done.
Right.
Here.
And
we
of course,
see anything in between.
And of course, in the next episode, we see him like weighing his options. But I think that's just more so Stevie being Stevie.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to listen to a conversation, but I don't think for any moment in time he was like, he's envisioning himself. He's putting the triangle up. And he's like, I have that toy soldier hanging up here, and I know I am a strategist.
I think Stevie's just too nice. I think that he's just like in his reactions with people. I think he's too nice on that kind of stuff. And he knows where he's doing. He's not dumb. He knows what he's doing in this game. But when he's dealing with Simon, he's not going to be the guy like, fuck you, Simon. Like, you sold me out. He's not going to do that. He's like, oh yeah. No, that's not who he is at all. He's, making kind of like, I call it old man friends, like if they ever have to vote out Stevie, no one is going to want to vote out Stevie. The same thing with Jerry. That's what they have going for them.
They're too nice. They're the dads.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's not only that they're too nice and their dads, it's like they're the people that you take out early. Like that's why Stevie goes very early. It's like he's older, not the like at that time, not the best at challenges, and was trying to play the game. So you're like, okay, we're gonna yeet this guy. Now you're at a spot where like he's about to make the merge. And like everyone has egos. Like it's not just Simon people. Mm-hmm. Every single person there has egos. Yep. And do you think any of them are looking at the board and going, the person I need to target and get out of this game is Stevie? Jerry?
All of them are saying, I want to go to the final 3 with Stevie and Jerry.
Stevie and Jerry.
Yeah.
Right, because they're going to cancel out each other's votes, and then I'm going to go with them. I'm telling you right now, Stevie's going to go to the final 3. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Put your glasses on.
It's his destiny. It's his destiny.
Oh,
It's our
Wayne,
destiny.
you laugh.
There is no reason for what happens next, and it's starts a trend of we're just going to bag on Simon. There was no reason to show him screwing up the Batman quote and then having him redo it.
Well,
There's no reason for that.
No, he did not screw up the Batman line because because the screw up means that he meant to say it correctly.
He muffed it when he was
You
saying
didn't need to show the first take, though.
No, you didn't need to show the first take, but people were also dogging him like, no, it's you die a hero.
He did that part on purpose.
Yeah. Like, and I was like, I'm all for camp, and like that's very camp of him to be like, oh, I need to do this role. I need to say this line. I know I'm a hero. I know I'm being put in the villain's tribe. There will be an opportunity for me to go to the heroes and say this line. And I'm, God damn it, even if I mess up 5 times, I am going to say it.
Yeah, because don't forget he was probably thinking they'll cut it. Like,
right.
They dogged him back.
Well, also, like, you think they will cut him burping in confessional from indigestion.
Yes.
I mean, that's hilarious, though. That's not a Dodo edit. I just feel for him because he ran into the role. He lent into that, that sort of narrative, and it's come and bitten him on the ass. I just hope that they're not going to continue it because it's kind of.
I feel like it's past at this point. Like, I think it's so obvious that like if they lose, he's gone. Maybe because episode 12, he wasn't going to be the person that left.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He's getting this Dodo edit, and flash forward, he's still here.
This is what I'm saying.
They're painting him as playing this like very dumb, stupid.
Clever.
I don't know how to play a Survivor game, but he's still here. So like he's not that dumb at it. He knows what he's doing.
And he's a fan of these games. Like he's played online games of this. Like he's in the community. Like he knows and appreciates the game. And that's why like even when he stumbles and messes up, like it makes me more of a fan of him because I think the best character, I've said it thousands of times, the best character Survivor or any reality TV can provide is a flawed character. You don't only get the highs, you get their lows, you get the in-betweens, and we're getting like a full story of that.
Well, we've gone from taking on the king, so the 2IC to to a bit of a bloody had a shocker with the idol. Yet I love the way that everyone else, Haley, Sean, Flick, they all still thought it was an idol, but they didn't get smashed for it.
No.
They all believed that it was an idol, Right. And then all of a sudden we've got a bit of an underdog on our hands coming from the trenches. If he manages to stay another episode or another week or to merge or whatever, isn't that?
And hey, he's always wanted to compete in individual immunities.
I was gonna say he needs to make it to that stage of the merge because how many times have we seen it in these games where it's that person's dead man walking. We can get them out anytime. And they end up lasting way longer in the game because they think, we could just get Simon out whenever. Yep. So if he can make it to the merge, this whole game can turn around.
And it's always because they do too much in a position where something could be very straightforward. And that's what happened. And that's what happens this very episode at this tribal council.
I actually suspect that they are using this week as a Dodo. The fact that he didn't get out this week makes me believe that he's going to have a better position once they merge. Yeah. I don't think that they would carry this story on to multiple weeks. I think it would have been the climax of the week would have been Simon getting voted out if they were editing like this. If it wasn't going to be like a redemption or like all of a sudden luck has it that he's in a better position in the game. And, now he's.
And maybe this is us reading too much into the edit. It's like how I said the person who leaves in the next episode isn't going to be one of the big names because I feel Australian Survivor would really hype it up. It's like royalty will be taken down tonight. And you're like, is it George or Haley? You know?
Right.
But does that get us to immunity?
Yeah, this leads us to the immunity challenge. So for this one, you're racing through a mud pit, over a net, through a tight tunnel, One member will chop the log or release a sack of coconuts, use the coconuts as a slingshot,
Oh my god, the
and
amount
smash
of
targets.
the amount. This is the Manscaped break,
dude,
honestly.
It's too early.
Chopping his
I know.
logs.
Promo
He's
code
chopping
Survivor.
logs, sacking nuts,
but-
grabbing your sack.
So my first question here is: were you guys surprised that Sean did compete? Because as soon as I saw that tiny tunnel, I'm like, this dude's gonna get stuck, and then you lose.
Like a bear squeezing through a drain pipe. That's what JLP
I don't think they had time to think about
Yeah, it was
that.
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think that. I think Sean's good at everything.
Well,
You can
it
squeeze
just
yourself in.
looked so small, like, because like you had Haley and Liz who are like wiry, very small, slim bodies. Well, Liz is tall, but she's small in like width, and she's going through. I'm like, that looks tight on her.
Right.
Well, he said it was perfect for the the Manscaped ad. Well, that's JLP that says it. All right, villains, grab your sack. So it's all over this. And it just shows how imbalanced the tribes are when you're going to chop the log, and it's Sean versus Jerry.
And Jerry gave it a nudge. Like that's a tough, hard piece of painted wood.
Listen,
He gave it some.
Jerry's painted as a pilot. He's a pilot on an island.
On Fraser's Island.
Yeah, on Fraser Island. Like he's had to hack some things before. Like that. Yeah. That man's gotten into some situations where machete saved his life for sure. Yep. There's no way it hasn't.
Well, apparently wood and sacks have saved Sean's life. Promo code Survivor. They love when we do that.
So despite the villains having this big lead, I was honestly kind of surprised they put Nina on the slingshot.
Same. I wondered if she took that.
Yeah, so it was her versus Matt, and Matt just with all the knows how to shoot those nuts was just barely chipping the top of every single plate. Like not
very
much
sharp, a sharp shooter.
Yeah.
But that's Vanine, like it's heavy, it's endurance, it's aim. Like she may have had the capacity to do it, but I'm still thinking the bigger,
Yeah.
That's it. You pull it back. I did it in hours, and I said, okay, I've got two in me. The rope and the elastic's so tight.
So I'll say two comments. When I'm watching this, I'm fresh off of watching the challenge, the recent Alex knows where Olivia has to do it, and she smashes her face and gets knocked out of the finale because of a slingshot malfunction.
But that was like a golf ball.
It was like a golf ball and a slingshot, and it went out and came back and broke all of her
5 parts of her face.
Oh my god!
Like to the point where if it moved an inch left or right, like she could have died.
Yes. So like this happened in the finale. So her and her partner, they're both rookies, get pulled out of the finale because of this.
And now you have a coconut.
And I'm watching Nina go out there with a slingshot and a coconut. I'm like, oh, no way. Like, I am very much traumatized by that from Olivia. And then watching this, I'm like, we can't, no more slingshots.
Especially with Nina.
Unless there's like 3 hours of training on exactly how to do this slingshot. No, there's not. It's just like, go out and pull this handle and do it because you know how to do it. And I'm watching her like aim it with her face. I'm like, oh God, oh, please up or down, Nina. Come on. Like,
and they weren't crushing it, eh? They were just nipping the tip.
Yeah. And I do like that they make it a rule in AU where it's like all it needs is a little nick, like, and it's like, oh, it counts. And like he'll always got like, yep, that's good. But if I'm them, like it's a decent size away, I would be asking him like, hey, JLP, is that one hit?
Yeah, like, how could you even tell?
You know what? Yeah. The inner person in my ear is saying yes. You're good.
Yeah.
Move forward. But
so
you know what?
Matt ends up hitting him.
Yeah, and the end game of this is very David versus Goliath. Yeah. You know, like the heroes are the Davids, and you have a slingshot at the end. It was meant for them to win the whole time. This is storytelling at its finest, folks.
But this really isn't the most important part. What happens is right after, because we have all the idol swaps. Because, you know, they're working it out that Shawnee's going to give her idol to Jordy because he's at the very back. And then you have Sean that's handing off.
Yeah, you know, Sean did his part real slick. Flick did not. Like, Flick couldn't make it more. To me, it was like, you couldn't be more obvious that you're stalling and waiting for someone to give you something.
And that the slow walk.
Yeah. It's like, okay, bye.
It was that, and you also have David that's telling Flick in between, like, go to Stevie, show him the triangle, say this is your destiny.
I know.
I was like, oh no, we're going to be manipulating Stevie. I don't like this.
You know what? It got me thinking, like, oh, is Flick the next one to go? Because it was David who went to Paige and said, you need to go get George out. I'm like, David, did you not learn your lesson? You told a hero what to do, and they went home.
And then I did just like as they're walking out, so the heroes leave and Jordy goes, and it's just this brief interaction between Jordy and JLP. Kind of gives them the little shaka, like, let's go, brother.
The Joker is back.
And JLP loved the chaos that Jordy used to rain on us. He loved it, and he'd say stuff to him at Tribal. But that's not the Jordy we're seeing. Like, I don't know.
He's a different person.
Yeah, watching his exit and everything.
But JLP smirk, I could live for 1,000 times over. Like, when he knows something's going on and he just has his arms folded, really popping the muscles out so everyone can see that he's ripped and be like,
nice, Jordy. Yeah.
He's like, I see what you're doing here. I can't wait for Tribal.
God, I love JLP. I don't think we say that enough.
I love JLP.
He is such a great host of this show. He is so good.
He's so good. He's great at Tribal Council. So I think for this part, we could sort of broad span this, like, instead of going like beat by beat, because the main story here is Jordy's plan is we're going to tell the girls and show them that we have our idols, and sort of like Godfather forced her hand into picking someone on their tribe. So part of me is like,
my favorite part of all of it is when they do it, is it's just immediately from Nina. She goes, shit.
Yeah. My issue here is, I think this was a bad play. Like, obviously it's a bad play because Jordy goes. I think the whole time it should have been the standard doom and gloom. I know one of us is going home, and then you get to Tribal Council, and you show them there so that you don't give the heroes time to figure out their own name. You have to go there and you have to play them. Like, that's all it is.
To me, I just feel like Jordan had like 4 mistakes in a row. Like he didn't learn. I don't know if he should have told them to start with. That's what he did with us, and that's when he became untrustworthy. Like, I thought he would have learned some stuff, like at least try and keep one of your alliances that you're trying to work with. And then I also think that, he's come back and he's playing a completely different game when the first game didn't sort of work for him that well, but then this one hasn't as well. I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
I get it.
Here's what I thought. You got a free idol and you're on the bottom. You play it.
And everyone's whispering.
You're outside of the majority alliance. You have a free idol. This is a free idol. You got it from somebody else who got it from somebody else. This is free and clear. You're supposed to use it. You need to use it.
Don't waste it.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
giving it
no
to you.
idols are infinite.
Yeah. Going back to Chrissy's point, because if you look at Jordy, his last 2 seasons, he started out in a really good spot, doing well. It's whenever he wants to create this chaos that always ends up being his own undoing.
But the thing was, the chaos was working. It was working if he played his idol.
Yeah.
Like, I listened to my guys over here because I always want to know if what I'm saying is right. Like, because I don't know enough to be, I just sort of go.
The talking tribal.
Yeah. So I listened to Shannon because she's just a guru, and she was so adamant in her point, and don't forget Croc and I had an idol. She was so adamant about you go if it's statistics. Play the damn idol. Don't play on emotion, because emotion can always be wrong. But when you're there, I can't emphasize to you enough, if you think emotionally that you're in relationships with these people, it's really hard to unsee it. Like, I couldn't fathom that they would blindside Croc because they loved me so much. So we don't need the idol, Croc. Don't play it. Keep it. Looking back, no one talked to us for 6 hours. Like, Sammy didn't look me in the eyes. Jesse normally held my hand. Like,
you know what?
Shannon's right.
And you know what? Part of this, I think what wasn't shown on screen, or a good ton on screen, you have to give Simon his props here, because he was in with the heroes now. But for whatever reason, Jordy and Liz still felt that he would side with the villains.
Yeah, he just hadn't convinced them. He wasn't. But then look at George's reaction when he finds out his mate's gone, because George by now is building his army. He declares war like this. Jordy didn't appreciate, I don't think, the relationship he had with George, perhaps, because Jordy sort of dismissed it and it was gone and way to go. Whereas George was like, "You took out Jordy, I'm coming for you."
And I think that was because of preseason ideas 100%. From both ends. I know George and Jordy were probably like, we were the big characters on our respective seasons. Like, we're going to be fighting for airtime. We sort of fit the same box. One of us needs to go. And so Jordy's like, I'm going to push into Simon, and I'm going to make Simon the alpha. And I can be that person I can hide behind, because it's just one alpha. It's not a whole group, but Simon can be the person in front, and then I can figure out a way to get rid of Simon later. And then by the time he realizes the value of George, it's too late.
It's too late. And then okay, keep going, Dan.
Yeah,
that's good.
We have the plan from the OG heroes, where I was kind of surprised that they're throwing out Sam's name. He's the one that they were okay with just leaving and saying, okay, if he goes, like, Simon will just replace him.
That was the
you would have thought
choice.
That maybe it was David, but that's just because we haven't seen David at all. So I was kind of shocked seeing that they were just so all right with Sam going. Not only because they've been with him the entire time, but also, like, Sam's game is out there. You know it. He plays really straightforward, and it's mateship. If he has your back, he's going to keep working with you.
I think the big miscalculation here, and this is just me speaking, that none of them have said it. I haven't seen interviews or anything that says that they thought this way. I think they overestimated how Sam plays the game is how Sam will be. So, he got some votes. Sam won't care because he's a loyal player.
No.
He plays with his mates, and that's what he'll do. And it's always, those are the same people, though, that when you physically have evidence that people that you are riding for put your name down, I owe nothing to you. Yeah. I owe nothing. Right. I'll still be loyal in a sense, but
it was so sad to watch. Like, I was watching,
it was like a puppy. It was like you were about to put down a puppy.
Are you sure there's nothing wrong? And you see him look over, and then you can see, I can't remember.
David's so uncomfortable.
Oh, David. Yeah, he goes, no, because that was me. You can't look at them and lie, because you know you could come back to them.
Because we see in episode 11 and 12 how close Sam and David are. Because we don't know that. We've heard it offhand that, like, Sam was like, "Oh yeah, I'm very good with David," but we have seen none of that to really show it. This week really shows, like, how much they buy into each other. So it's like David's just like, "Okay, this is going to work," but I hate the fact that it's Sam's name, and I hate the fact that I'm being put in this position of knowing. Like, I felt like David was more like, I would have rather not known. So, like, leave me in the dark.
Yeah, this takes us then to tribal council, and we have one or two kind of straightforward answers, how we always see it starting, but then the chaos kind of consumes. Lots of whispers breaking out. I think my favorite part of all of this is with the whispers is where Jordy does, like, lean into, like, Liz and Simon and be like, what's going on?
Oh, that was very good. But I also love, because prior to tribal, during the negotiation, or not a threat, it was definitely not a threat, Liz and Jordy say to each other, it's like, if we see them whispering to each other or whispering to any of the guys, we're going to flip our votes and put it on them. We'll play our idols, and we're going to vote one of Nina and Haley out. And Nina and Haley know this. And Nina's, like, trying to be slick with it. And then Sam just goes, well, if both of them have idols, then someone else could go home, mate. And everyone just goes,
what? Yeah,
bro. What? You know what? I
Yes.
think that was a pretty good Sam impression. I'm gonna hold it.
So it's at Tribal where Sean brings up the new plan, like splitting the votes, making sure that it's between Jordy and Sam. And at this point, I think they're all imagining that Jordy is going to play his idol so that,
Yes.
all right, they lose Sam.
Yeah, poor Sam. I can't really explain it outside of there's got to be some, based off of his caffeine reaction. There's got to be some like interactions with him where they're like, okay, who do we not want to hang out with anymore?
Yeah.
Like we have to get rid of one of ours.
Yeah.
And I think, and I don't think it's been reflected very well, but I'm kind of really just imagining this. So I don't want to talk down on Sam on something that hasn't been shown, but based off of that one thing, it's like, yeah, Sam was played a long time ago. Like, his game's out there, but that's not the new style of game. So how?
No.
I mean,
Well,
do you
I
really
think
want to have a fight with him in 3 weeks over like having to get rid of this other player that you've been working with the whole time? And he's like, no, but mateship, mate. And you're like, no, I don't care. I want to win $1 million.
And I think the issue, I think this thought was in those heroes' minds as soon as the original Jerry vote to send him out, and he just out front says, I would rather send someone else out that if they were to go home, I don't care. It is not an impact to my game. And just be like, there's a very good value of being someone who's very straight up as an ally, as Sam is. But it's a double-edged sword where it can be very good, but sometimes you say too much. And I think he was in moments where he was saying too much. And if you're Sean and Haley who are like, I want to play this like low-key game, we have this alliance, but we want to keep it hush-hush. And you have Sam there who could just say it offhand to someone just because that's just how he is. So that's the easy person to lose.
Yeah. Well, he's just someone who isn't flexible. And, going through Survivor, you need to be flexible. And if he just seems way more rigid, and that's got to be difficult to work with. So
Survivor isn't 7 strong, and then we just like have a hierarchy that we know how it's. That's not how it works anymore.
No.
It's 3 strong. Honestly, is kind of like the ideal number, and then you kind of 2s and 3. I mean, if you have a super strong 3, but I have a feeling we're going to see in this season that it's really got to be a duo. But I won't get into that.
Just bigger, stronger. Whether it's an edit or not, we can only go off what we're seeing.
Yep.
There's bigger, better relationships. Sam's done very little. He's not this psycho physical challenge. He hasn't got amazing relationships. No. And strategically, he said 3 things. So he would be the obvious person to release from the,
Yeah, so this gets us to the vote. And the one thing I will thank Jordy for is convincing Liz to not use her idol, because her not having to use her idol paid so many dividends for her individual game. And in theory, Jordy's going in there being like, through threats, I have 2 of the heroes' votes. I have my vote, I have Liz's vote. And and he's like, in his mind, I feel, I haven't listened to the interview, but I feel like in his mind, he's like, if Simon knows what's good for him, he votes with us, because then that's 1 less hero. He can still work with the heroes, but like, because in my mind, I'm also saying like, if Simon allows Sam to go, he's even more needed now by that.
I haven't listened. I would love to know if Jordy said, because he did an interview with Brooke, and I've listened to, because I listened to it before you guys, he was sort of saying stuff about he'd choose George if he had to choose out of George and Simon. And then he was talking about the baby, and then he was talking like he just ditched Simon. He was savage to Simon, who I think rightfully, Simon might have thought they would be.
I thought that was a power. I thought that was a power duo in the game. I thought Simon and Jordy together were like a strong power duo. But I was like, someone's going to try and break them up.
And maybe and you know what? You can be better for someone being part of the reason that sends you home, but you actively
Eli Goodrich, Stevie is smart enough, and you better not say that again. I'll boot you. I don't know how to do it. I'm booting you.
Eli.
Anyway, Anyway.
Thank you for watching, but Stevie is smart enough.
How do you block Eli?
We're not going to block
We're
Eli.
not
Don't
gonna
block
block
Eli.
Eli.
That was a false threat.
But so
Thank you
Sam
for commenting and
or
watching.
Simon there
I don't know, but
was
what I was gonna say
was
I don't
burned
know.
by Jordy.
Yeah, I know.
And
but-
so Simon has no incentive to trust or keep Jordy any further in this game. So he makes, and you see, it's a
Yeah.
physically hard decision for him. And you see it in the reaction at the beginning of episode 11. But he decides to put Jordy's name down. And ultimately, he thinks, like, because of that and Sean's deal, because Sean is this guy, like, he promised on his kids.
Yeah.
This is my path to get to the middle. And Jordy, you decided that you no longer wanted to have me in your game, so I'm not going to have you in mine.
Yeah.
I
And
want to
here
know
we-
if it's been said anywhere, is Jordy pissed that he didn't play it, and what made him think that he shouldn't? Like, did we miss something? Did he feel safe enough? Was he not switched on at the time? Like, why didn't he play it?
Well, as JLP says, if you have an ace, you play it,
I don't
or
know.
you lose your
especially
joker.
After last week, we saw him basically George tell everybody that he sold out Simon's idol to them. So like he knows he's not on good footing with Simon.
Episode before?
One of the things that I did find interesting, it's like, all right, maybe Sean is a little bit of a better player than, especially coming off of his last season, is I did like one of the only things we saw was his confessional on the revote saying, I wanted to work with you, but like you didn't play your idol, so you had to go. And so that gives me a little bit more hope for Sean that at some point he's going to ditch this whole hero meat tray alliance.
I think he's going to go home with an idol in his pocket.
I feel like Sean's getting, as the more I see of Sean, which is still little considering he's so big, I feel like I'm seeing Sean go back, like, what's the word? He's regressing and not being as alert as he was, because even sitting there, how he was saying that stuff to Neens and then he had this plan and then that wasn't what happened. Is he, I don't know, like this is, I don't know how Sean played because I only know him as a friend. I don't know him as a player. Like, I don't know how he exited his season.
Maybe he's maybe he's regressed a little bit because he's comfortable. He thinks like he's in such a good position because he doesn't see what's happening in 11 and 12 because Nina, and with the help of Sam and David, are being very low key with the uprising that they're creating.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Sean. Now, the more we're talking, he doesn't know enough.
I still think
He's not talking enough.
I think he still accurately made the right decision with, I think between the two, Haley goes before him. So that at least buys him some time.
Yeah. So, yeah, on the revote, Jordy goes, and at least he's a good sport about it. He goes, that is great. He's like, that is fun. Do more of that or whatever. He's like, I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go home and raise my little boy. So he's a good sport on the way out. And this will take us to the next episode.
And you know what, Chrissy? It was that comment where I was like, Chrissy was absolutely right. That is the closure of this chapter of his life. Yeah.
Regardless of what we didn't see, regardless of what's been said and done, this is someone who did leave because he's hit out on a podcast at Georgie saying he's a nasty, malicious person or something, and it didn't go down well. That's what's happened here. But it is Jordy again going higher to look fantastic and say, I don't need Survivor. I'm going home to raise my baby. That the last words everyone sees of the Joker are the heartfelt baby words. How do you lose that battle?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But
the end of this episode, we're going to try to speed it up a little bit faster because we only have Chrissy for a little, a certain amount of time.
No talking.
And we want to make sure that we get her takes on as much as we possibly can.
No, the talking is what gets us the views.
Okay.
So.
Okay, episode 11 title.
Yeah, Wayne.
Oh,
Wayne.
title. Sorry. Distracted. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Aw, we lost. That was my title. That was. So.
Did you love when he was pushing it?
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a quicker episode as soon as it was like 10 or 12 minutes in, and it wasn't, oh, we're going to a reward challenge. We're going to immunity, and if we see a certain result, that will dictate what we will do.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, oh
Yeah,
boy.
so it starts at Hero Beach, and this is really where you have Matt and Flick turning it up on Jerry, being like, oh, the stars, tell me
Or
about
Stevie.
triangles and your destiny.
And Stevie's just like, so there is a chance. There's a chance something could happen here.
Yeah,
I
he
have to
says-
think about it.
Yeah, he says, just have to stay where I am and opportunities will come to me. And then he says, chaos time to reign.
Yeah, Chaos Time to Reign. That was a close second for the title. That
Do
was,
we get to talk about Stevie's challenge in this episode? Because I don't know the episodes.
No, that's episode 12.
Yeah,
that's the next one. That's the next one.
Don't, we'll make sure you have time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah.
We'll let Dan lead this one, promise.
Okay, go down.
Go.
So this takes us back to Villain Beach after the intro. Liz is sad that Jordy's gone. And then this is where, you do see Simon that's broken up. I mean, I don't think I'm sure there are a few, but I don't think he's acting it up. Like, it really was hard for him because you could
100%.
tell he bonded with Jordy out there.
Yep.
Because guess
Just
what,
one-
guys? It's an edit. He's actually a good person with a heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just reflect back to real quick, like when he won that individual immunity challenge, like that. Listen, Simon is playing it up because he knows he's on TV on a lot of these interactions. That's the quote that he was bashed on, which I think he muffed it and they should have edited that out. But I think he said it wrong on purpose. He knows he's on TV. That was genuine. And he's like, this is very important to him. Like, Survivor is very, very important to him.
So important to him. It is the whole redemption story is a thing. So for him to get out what he wanted to say was vital. It's just it got this shitty, made him look like a douche.
awesome.
And he's got the Chinese puffy belly, and then this is the worst. This day sucks. It is what it is. He still said it. It doesn't mean it's the be all and end all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we start to see, Sam's upset because he copped a vote. And the shocking news to everyone is that David's number one is Nina and also Sam. And it's just like, that would have been cool to know somewhere.
And you know what? It was like we had Nina on social media like the night before being like, trust me, guys, I'm also very furious with the fact that I'm getting nothing. And then the very next day, I see a tweet from Nina just being like, so I heard I got some screen time tonight.
Yeah, we finally get our intro package. It comes episode 11.
This is me though. You're getting inside stuff. This is why I'm getting $1 million for this podcast.
Yeah,
Worth every penny, Chrissy. Worth every penny.
You're at least getting double what I'm getting.
Because Nina's coming. And I don't know shit, but this is what they do. And all of a sudden you see Nina and David. Nina was with Josh and Josh was a nobody. Josh was like literally the entire leader of our season. And we saw him so late. Nina's got David. He's literally the nobody of this season. And we're seeing this tight little alliance. I tell you, it's coming. The queen Oprah's daughter is coming.
And so my only issue with her package is, and it has nothing to do with anything that's there, because I love all of them. I love Nina. I love Sandra. And I understand you have to do it because it's heroes versus villains and she's a hero. Sandra's a villain. I don't like the fact that Nina's being forced into a storyline that's about her mom.
Yeah.
Nina is her own damn person, though.
The quote that I like from her,
than it was for us.
Yeah, the quote from her that really stood out to me or whatever, she said, last time I proved myself as a player, this time I want to prove myself as a winner.
A winner.
That's a winner quote.
Yeah.
Was she your pick, Wayne? Or was she mine?
No, Wayne and I had Shawnee.
I had
said
Shawnee.
Nina.
But
Who's mine?
I am now at this point.
You said George.
You did say George.
Oh, I had to. He'd be mad at me.
But I do believe I feel strong about this. Oh, I truly believe a woman is winning this season.
Yep.
And, for future Australian Survivor competitors out there, if Nina's out there, if you're her number one, you will go very far in this game. You just won't get shit for screen time.
No edit.
Speaking of strong women, I have to go help put my daughter to bed. I hear her screaming for me, so I will be back, but please continue and I'll jump right back in.
You got it.
Yeah.
Well, look after Eloise.
So, but this is where we have Nina talking, and we're starting to see some of that, genius game player that she has is, hey, let me be the first one to go secure Liz. And then we bring in Sam and David, and finally that's a 4. That's majority for the tribe.
Right. And Liz is in a position where, like, I will take anything that looks like something real. And this looks like something real because Nina's damn good at connecting
1,000%
at a personal level.
Yep.
And Liz is just like, you know what? This is Aces. I got that idol, but I would love to be able to not use it before the merge.
But
This
Nina's
is your
so smart. This is a smart kid. She's been raised a survivor baby. She knew what she was doing. Her pitch was fantastic. It was low key. It still hasn't even got her as a threat. And she's dictated into now the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A majority that is unknown.
Yeah, she puts that little nugget at the end of Liz or whatever, just being like, oh, and by the way, Simon gave his idol to the other side.
Just give you this tiny bit of information just so you know I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
Liz,
at that point,
Liz
like
is furious.
where else is Liz going to go? Like
Exactly.
she kind of has to work with Nina, which plays right into all of her strengths.
No, it was so good. And just seeing it, she goes, because I think she did the same. Oh, no, she was with Haley when they got poached, wasn't she?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This takes us. Yeah. Go ahead, Chrissy.
I want to change.
You want to change? I'll let you jump aboard the Nina bandwagon.
Okay.
Don't tell Wayne.
Yeah, don't tell George. We know George is
Wait,
listening,
what,
but just miss this specific portion.
We'll edit it out. We'll edit it out, but keep it for later on. So don't worry.
Okay. We'll do the edit on it.
Okay, Dan.
This takes us back over to the Hero Beach. It's day 22. Poor Stevie. Well, actually, good Stevie. He's at 100% improvement because he's lasted twice as long as what he did the last time he played.
And it's still the pre-merge.
Yeah, Stevie, we love you. We're really sorry in the cast assessment. We all said you were going to go first. That
I wasn't there for it. I never said anything bad about you, Stevie.
Did we? What did we say? No.
Johnny said
we
that
thought he
Stevie
was
would be
going
the
early.
first boot.
We did too.
We were wrong. We were wrong.
Hey.
Mistakes were made.
We're allowed to be wrong.
Mistake.
Yeah. And so here this is going. We don't see too much on the other side for the heroes. It's of the original heroes. Ben's the only one that doesn't know that Flick has the idol, which may have been the most important person to show, considering he found the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
This was hard to watch. Did you see Benny's face?
Yeah, he's just like,
yeah, not great. And so,
and then Ben was just there. He was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
yeah,
Like you can't. It wasn't personal. He didn't do anything wrong.
yeah.
Flick doesn't want to tell Ben. Their main priority here is trying to flip Stevie, saying, all right, more of the Destiny triangle talk, and Stevie will jump on board.
Oh.
And this is where we see George saying that Flick is now his priority to get out of the game, which
Wow.
I mean makes
Accurate.
sense. She always votes against him. So like,
No, and like the read here is like, even before knowing that she's the one who gets the idol, is just that you know what Flick is. Flick is not going to work with you.
Yeah.
Flick's not going to work with Shawnee. Flick's not going to work with Jerry or Liz. Get her out because that hurts the other side.
yeah,
Straight up.
it's 100% correct. And so, before we dive into the immunity challenge, all the talk this entire episode has been about this is Stevie's destiny. Well, all of your viewers here, your destiny is to stay properly manscaped. So take a quick word from our sponsor.
Support for Reality After Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's right, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever.
Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 4000K LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave.
Now, I have a dark shower curtain in my bathroom, and I've been looking for the perfect way to shave in the dark, kinda. Guess what? I found it! 4000K LED! No longer a problem. I got perfectly smooth, clean balls thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0.
It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SURVIVOR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. And don't forget, for more exclusive reality after show coverage, visit realitypatron.com. That's reality, patron.com.
And we are back. Before we dive into the episode 11 immunity challenge, we have, this is great. We're all loving Australian Survivor, but season 44 of US Survivor is coming up. It's right around the corner, starts this coming Wednesday. And let's talk all about the stops that Johnny Fairplay and the Queen, Sandra Diaz-Twine, will be making this season as they go through their viewing party tour. On March 1st, they are going to be, which is, like I said, this coming Wednesday.
Next week. Literally next week. What the fuck?
Yeah. In
For
New York.
asking where Johnny is, he'll be back next week because he has a party.
Yeah. So March 1st will be in New York City. March 15th is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. March 22nd in Cincinnati, Ohio, with Wayne, with Matt Bischoff. On March 29th, we'll be in Boston, Massachusetts. May 3rd in Durham, North Carolina. May 17th in Charlottesville, Virginia. And for the finale in my hometown, May 24th in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can get your tickets at survivortix.com. That's survivortix.com. Like I said, all stops will include Johnny Fairplay, the Queen, Sandra Diaz-Twine, plenty of surprise guests and former castaways, and as well as there will be a fire-making challenge at each event. You can get your VIP tickets for $75. That includes getting there an hour early, a free meet and greet with everyone that's there, as well as a season 44 buff. And then if not, we do also have the general admission tickets for $25. After the shows, they will do a live Q&A. I believe Wayne is hosting the one that's in Cincinnati, where you can ask them any and all questions that you want. If you want more information, we'll be covering all of season 44 here at the Reality After Show. Prior to this, Matt and I just did the first tribe assessment it's up and posted, and we will be doing the other two, I believe, Sunday night, and then the third one Monday or Tuesday.
And not that anyone's coming for me, but soft confirmation, I may be in Charlotte on the 24th with you guys as well. I'm thinking about making the drive down for the last viewing party of the season.
Wayne,
you
you
should
know
come
people
down.
are coming strictly for you.
The stash.
Yeah. Say, Wayne, you can come. You can crash at my place with Johnny as well. We'll just have a big old slumber party.
Yes. I'll bring my twin size mattress for us to all sleep on. So
Yes.
And just know, if it happens, it was always destiny.
It's destiny.
all right,
Let's get to this.
I want Chrissy's thoughts on the
Wait,
next episode.
that's the first time I've actually listened to those ads because I put my piece of toast in. Does Fairplay seriously say he's got shiny bald balls?
Oh yeah. That's his whole thing now. Yeah.
Hey, it's not disgusting. It's Manscaped. Promo code
It's
Survivor.
Manscaped, promo code Survivor. They love it when we do that.
I can't believe it. I'm literally putting my toast in, and he's like, "And I've got shiny balls." I'm like, "What's that?"
Well, we're now at immunity. Heroes get in first.
let the fireworks begin. Heroes come in, and we'll get to, what the challenge is or whatever, but we have the bold statements from George right off the bat because, they're sad. They see that Jordy is gone. He says, this is a declaration of war. We have two hostages here, and I'm ready to cut them loose. I promise.
And like, you have him doing that, and then they say to Shawnee, like, Shawnee, should the heroes on your tribe be scared? And Shawnee's like, yeah, they should be.
Yep.
He's just got no filter, like.
And I always love that she just always has a smile on her face while saying like some of the most like digging things you can say in the games. Like, should they be afraid? Yeah, they're going.
See, I think George does have a filter. I think that he just lets through a lot more because he knows how it's going to be used. Like, I think George in this game is very pointed with everything that he says.
No, I agree.
He doesn't seem like he's flying off the handle, that he's very protective. He's showing to the other people that he is trying to protect, that he is willing to protect them at all costs.
We said it last week, didn't we? If he chooses you and he trusts you, you're with him till the death. But that tiny glimpse of, like, even Stevie's lucky to be holding on, because when Stevie started chucking the wrong numbers around, Georgie was like, hey, what's happening?
He wants people to be more scared of going against him than being with him.
Yeah. George is polarizing. People either love him or hate him. But the one thing that has never made sense, and we said this last week, is that he's a snake. He's never gone against his own. He always does everything he can to protect his own.
Protect them.
So why would you not want to be on that side, especially when you think, well, okay, if, George does end up getting picked off, it's not going to be me first.
Yeah, but he has a way, and this is why, like, I've spoken to Mark and I said, mate, if I went back on, I've got to take Georgie out on day one, even though he's my BFF. I don't think I'd ever be able to do it because he somehow manages to propose like this idea that's so smart and 5 steps ahead. You haven't even thought of it. Yeah. And if you're in it and you're being offered a position in this plan, you would be a half-wit to either go against him. I mean, it has to be said, the shit that he does, I pause it. And I know everyone, it's so funny. Everyone still DMs me and goes, hey, do you have a husband? What's going on here? Are you single now? Like, this is the chat that I still get a year later. I pause it, and my hubby's hell smart. And he just looks at me and goes, I don't know how he just did that. Like, because hubby watches so religiously. And he's like, I can't believe he just did that. And he even has to process it. And he's smart. I'm not smart. He's smart. And this is George just somehow making people wild deals to go as far as they want to go in the game if they trust him. I don't know.
Look at the position that it's put Shawnee in, because coming into the game, looking at the cast, you say Shawnee is top 3, top 5 biggest threats that's returning out to the island. And there's no mention of ever getting rid of her. And we're 12 episodes in now.
I still thought Haley and him would be more together. I thought by now, because we've seen a king and queen package on template. You reckon? Oh, you're a smart boy. Maybe 2. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I could definitely see it working out that way.
Wait till the king has 2 queens in Shawnee and Haley.
That can't work. We don't share.
Because if they were swapped onto the same tribe, I think that does become too big of a threat, seeing both Haley and George there, that one of them has to go.
Forgotten. It's like everyone's forgotten these 2 came first and second a season ago.
Yeah, the best thing that could have happened to them was not meeting up till the potential merge that's coming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. They've gone under the radar.
Yeah. So this leads into the immunity challenge. After George's speech, and before it, we had the joke when it was back at Hero Beach that George was like, "Oh, you, me, Shawnee, Jerry, and Stevie, we could all just sit down on the mat and throw it." And they don't do that, but it's not too much more effort outside of that.
No.
So
we lost.
You're transporting giant blocks over hurdles, through a gate, up and over a ramp, and use it to build a staircase that has your tribe's name on it. And you see right off the bat the energy that George and Shawnee are willing to expend in this challenge.
Here's the deal. They were remarkably close to getting it right for trying to throw the challenge.
Yeah,
They were,
I had that marked down. Yeah.
they were very, very close.
Well,
to,
you hear George say it when they get back to camp. He's just like, "Oh, we were just one block away.
they
We almost
could have
had it, guys. Good
They could have
show."
won. It's so funny that they literally, this is definition throwing the challenge, because they actually probably could have won.
So when during I forget when during this is it revealed between Liz and Shawnee's hot goss that
So when they get all the way to the end where it comes to like building the staircase, that's where they both kind of break off for a second and have a little bit of chat of what happened. So Liz fills George
more
in.
of that chat. That wasn't allowed. Like, it's so good that they're letting it through.
well one thing they did stop letting people do is what you were what they were able to do in Brains vs. Brawn, where when you got voted out at tribal council, you could still hand off an idol. Jordy wasn't allowed to hand off his idol.
Yes. Now, let's clear something up here. Jordy then said to whoever was listening, everyone caned him, won't you give it, won't you give it, won't you give it? So you're not allowed. Once the votes have been read, it was in our season that happened. Croc had his and everyone crucified us. You idiots, why didn't he give it to you? We weren't allowed. They don't tell you that. So then you look like a twat. So Jordan had no,
Yep. But we get that goss, and that further pushes into why I feel like all 3 episodes, the Hero Tribe should just, if you're George and all them, you should have just thrown all 3.
Yeah.
Throw all 3, keep voting them out. Like, just slice them. It does not, because in George's mind, it does not matter that Flick has an idol. We can still get one of them out because inherently she's going to protect one of their own. So obviously he makes the choice of we're going to take out Ben. I still think, because if he says it in his own confessional, and I'll put people to task when they say their stuff, even if I like them. He says, I'm not afraid to look death in its face, and I'm willing to take the move. He took the safe move. The big move would have been, I am going to put all of our votes on Flick, because I'm going to have her convinced that, even if she somewhat believes the pitches I'm giving her, because I do give good deals, she will not use it on herself. And then Flick goes home.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, I'm also trying to help speed this up so that we get to episode 12.
No, you're good.
Because you're watching it, when I was watching it, I'm watching Flick, George is pitching this outstanding proposal to her, and you nearly see her throw the damn thing in there. It could have gone 2 different ways. He'd convinced her to do it. And she said, no, I'm not doing it. You could tell that she was seriously considering it. But
well, because George is so, the thing that can grate on people about George is that he will give you a deal. The deal is heavily stacked in his favor, where it's just oh, you can trust me, but get rid of every single ounce of agency that you have. You will now have 0%. You don't get any agency. I get all the agency, but I won't vote you out tonight.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah,
absolutely. And so how can't because I think in George's mind, he's like, this is a lose-lose situation for her. She can either say yes and automatically lose one of her own, or she can say no, and now all deals are off the table for her moving forward.
Yeah. And it has to be brought up, we're the #1 Stevie podcast out there, but man, does he not play this well in the scramble.
Why can't we do 2? We could do 3 and 2. We have 4 people, Stevie. And I love Shawnee going to confession what, does she expect me to go to a crab and say, hey crab, do you want to be our 5th member of our alliance?
The best part of that is afterwards they do a close-up of a crab.
Yeah.
That was so funny. It's so funny.
Good editing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but it just shows again, another sheer example of. And Stevie even was sort of confused himself when George said, Stevie, what are you talking about? There's not 5 people here. We can't do this. And Stevie's sort of oh, yeah, George, you're right. He's just so friggin'
right.
He can do no wrong. He's even going to stuff it up for all of them, and we still love him.
Right.
Stevie is building. He's building his case to the final 3. He is building his case to the final 3. He is like, I am too dumb. he is like, I don't even know how many people are in my alliance. Take me with you because I'll go to the final 3, and then I'm a 63-year-old man, and you're all gonna love me because you love my glasses because I have a defining
I might have some
characteristic.
early signs of dementia here with this. So
Yep.
take me along.
Well, he has this weird quote where he's just like, George is the type of guy that walks through a park and you just want to punch him in the head.
Oh,
Like,
I
don't
loved it.
think I've ever had that thought, but more power to you.
Because I think it's hilarious, but I get it. It's like, because he's just like, I don't like. Everyone wonders like, oh, why does George keep getting targeted? Like, well, he's just that guy. Everyone has that guy who's like, you have a very punchable face. I might punch you, and then you act a certain way. Like, you know what? You act a
I'm
certain
gonna
way,
punch you.
and you have a punchable face. I think I will punch you. And the punch is putting your vote on him, or making a bad challenge that actually rips his head open. So I don't know. It's very funny. Very funny.
There had to have been some more than what we saw, because by the end of it, the heroes are pretty convinced they don't have Stevie. And so this is where they say, hey, we're going to put our votes on Jerry and then just hope that we play the idol correctly.
See, and that's another issue. You can't half measure this. You can't. You are the minority. Take out the target you want to take out if you have a real idol. Because if you believe you have a real idol, why in the hell are you keeping George? Why the hell are you keeping Shawnee? It's like you take out the heads. Why are you taking out Jerry? What has Jerry done? It's the same reason why. Like, why are you taking out Ben? Ben did it himself. Like, Jerry is at the same level. It's just I
just think they're all too scared. Like, one mistake, you're all just trying to get to merge. You're so self-involved, and the parameters, they might be a little bit more, because you just get so fixated on merge.
Yeah, but like
I think the pushback to you, Alex, there is that say they play the idol correctly, they still don't have the majority, and they're probably not going to keep winning challenges. And so you don't want to have to go back to camp with George and just saying, what was all this talk about being a double agent and, working with you in the future? But then you came in here and you voted for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was going to happen anyway, so you might as well do it. That's the only thing I'm saying. It's like, if you truly are like, this is what we need to do, you can't say, oh, we're going to hit the lowest person on their totem pole, where if we take them out, it really doesn't impact the story. It really doesn't impact what's going on here. They still have the numbers. They still have the power over us. You take out George, guess what? That's one less person that can't spin a web against you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. The last thing we see before heading into tribals, this is where George says that he's willing to give Flick a chance, but he's going to give her an ultimatum. And I didn't think his ultimatum was going to be throwing the idol in the fire.
Throw it in the fire.
That's so funny. It's so great.
It's so savage.
Yeah. We head to tribal council, and the talk is about the declaration of war, and war has begun, all that fun stuff. And another weird quote from Stevie, but it makes sense for how he's been playing. It says he wants to make it to the merge and doesn't want to make too many waves. Like, he just wants to keep playing that under the radar player.
I think that was his way, I felt, of signaling to the heroes. It's like, I'm not turning
Not doing
yet.
anything. Yeah.
I might turn in the future. There is no reason for me to turn at this point.
Yeah. So what did you think of the ultimatum he gave Flick of throwing it in the fire? Do you think that was the right play to make if he really thought it was an idol? Well, he did think it was an idol.
Well, like I said, it was a lose-lose for Flick.
I mean, if I'm Flick, I'm like, well, if this is an idol, then we need to play it. And Alex, what you said, we have to put all our votes on George or Shawnee. Like, we can't. That was the wrong move. But if I don't think it's an idol,
they didn't have a doubt about that. They fully believed it was a functioning idol.
It does not look. First of all, it does not look like a fucking idol. Excuse my language.
But to be fair, it's like they haven't seen a lot of them. They only saw Ben's, and like
Have they
but-
not watched Survivor?
probably.
Yeah,
There's
but
not
guys, don't forget, like, you don't also know, say for Simon, for argument's sake, he finds this jewel, it's the shape of a cookie, it's a new season. At the minimum, you've got to think this is something. So if you then go to a confessional and the person who's interviewing you is like, because if it was me, I don't have the knowledge. I'd be like, the only thing I did know was that Jonathan writes a letter to you with an idol. That's the only thing.
Your love letter.
Your love
My
letter.
It is a terrible clue to an idol. It is a terrible clue to an idol.
There should have been something
there's
like
some
that.
inscription on the
There should have
back
been-
side.
Yeah, there should have been like a very small inscription on the back, be like, you know, like
In a tree
go
root.
to the well.
Whatever it is.
Going to go looking for a coconut? Like,
Right.
come on. But
Like, terrible clue, but not an idol.
No, not an idol. No necklace, no paperwork, no. If you've watched it, you know that they say this is a individual immunity idol, doesn't it? Is that in the letter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So I just feel like in the hype of it, you're desperate, you're nervous, you found something. It's something, because you don't just not find a jewel with, you know, a cookie. But if you trot off to talk to the one person you're allowed to talk to about it, and they go, "What'd you find?" You know, you found something, and you're in your confessional going, "Holy shit, I found an idol," and they go with it.
Right.
You're really on the tangent. Like,
Right.
they could have told me Jonathan's letter was anything. They could have let me go with anything because I didn't have the knowledge. But that's where I think the slander came in, because these guys are fans. Like, Flick's played, and Simon's a super fan. Like,
But
The
like the one thing
that
I wish we got.
Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, the one thing I wish we got was in episode 10, because like Haley gives clarifying questions about that idol as Simon's showing it, and I really wanted to see a confessional from her being like,
"Is it?
The math's not mathing. Like something doesn't add up, but you know what? I'm gonna keep my hands out of it. It does not impact me. Like just something like that, where it's like, if it's not something, you know, an easy way to send Simon out later, and then that's your like trail.
Yeah,
I think my bigger issue with using this as a clue was, okay, it's under, you know, that coconut. If you see that symbol, but that coconut, it stands out and it's distinct.
You don't need the
passing,
clue.
Yeah, if you're passing it, you're going to go, hey, that doesn't belong here.
Yeah. What is that?
You're usually going to
gel
know
on?
it's something.
Yeah. Honestly, surprised it hasn't been found earlier.
Because Shawnee found it when they were at the well. She was talking with Liz and Jordy back last week. She was like, hey, that's weird. She picked it up and bam, there's the idol.
But moment of truth, all the votes are cast. Flick goes and says, you know what? I need to play this. I'm playing this on Matt. JLP, this is in fact not an idol. All votes from Matt will count.
I wish we would have seen JLP throw it in the fire and just make like some type of comment, be like, can I have a deal
That's
with you,
something
George?
Probst does.
Yeah,
It's like,
George
this
does
is
it.
not anything.
Like, George, what's my deal? I threw it in.
But the votes get cast.
What are you giving me?
3 votes are read immediately for Jerry. 4 votes on Ben. Ben, you should have trusted George as soon as the merge or the swap happened. And that's ultimately why you go. You decided to lay in the bed with the heroes who had you at the very bottom.
Yeah.
And ultimately you were the easy person to be, well, you can go.
Yep.
Yeah. And JLP just digging the knife in a little bit deeper to Flick. In this game, sometimes a genuine deal is better than a fake idol.
Yeah. God, so good. JLP's so good. Those lines are, I mean, I know he's got writers, but they are great and he delivers them perfectly every time. Such a great cap to every episode. Those lines, I haven't noticed them as much as I've noticed them this season.
There's someone giving him some good stuff if it's not.
It's great. That's fine. I don't care. Every TV show has writers. That's fine. I don't expect him. He's an incredible host, but the way he delivers
he's very witty. You can't hear it as quick as he delivers it, so he probably is saying half of it.
Yeah.
But Wayne, this gets us to episode 12. What is the episode title?
Man, I just have to say it because I feel real bad because he is getting the dodo at it, and I know he's not going to like this. I wrote down Simple Simon, and I love the guy. He is getting the worst at it.
That's good.
Hey, I feel like he can take it on the chin here. He knows that this is a friendly podcast to him.
All
Hey,
right, good.
episode 10 could have been, Simon, can you fix your face?
Yeah.
Make it better.
The alternate
They
was
had 2 idols.
Make your face better.
Simon says, "Psych." That was the other one I wrote down.
My Simon, leave him alone.
But
That's
this
a
starts on the beach right after tribal council, and essentially the main point is like George is stoking the fire, just stoking it, and Flick just goes, "Yeah, I'm burying Simon the next time we see him."
Yeah.
Simon
And
tried
it's
to
this
stitch her
weird
up.
thing where like both sides that are actively against each other are having very open dialogue over every strategic thing that happened, which I will say is a very bad point on Flick's part. Like, you don't give George anything. Say it in a confessional like you did. Don't give George anything that he can use.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's basically, pre-intro, you get just Flick fuming, then you have the intro, and I don't know why it took me till 12 episodes. I think because normally I'm trying to lay out notes and everything, but I just love, of course it's Stevie, it's just how happy he looks when it's his package and he's on Simon's shoulders and he just has his hands up in the air.
He loves putting his hands in the air.
He
loves
does.
it.
Why are we so obsessed with him?
Okay, but I think that sends us immediately to reward, right?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Here,
Yeah.
just jump ahead. We have other stuff, but no, before the reward, we do have, it goes back and forth about, see each tribe. Nothing too much happens, but at the villain camp, this is where I have in all caps, David finally got his first confessional.
Oh, right,
yeah,
because we have the
that's
Liz
right.
and Simon drama where
Yes.
Liz confronts Simon because she wants Simon to show that he no longer has his idol, and Simon's trying to dodge it by just going like, "Well, I still don't feel like I can fully trust you, Liz. Like, we haven't worked together. I can't show you." And she's like, "Bullshit! You gave it to them."
Mine. Yep. Here's mine. Where's yours? Where is yours? Can I see yours?
Show me it.
Please, where's yours? Here's mine. I'll show it to you again. Would you like to see my bold move on Liz? This is where I'm like, oh man, she is here to play. Like, Liz is.
Yeah, where's she been?
Yeah, I think she's been.
Well, I think she's always been there, but I think they actively decided like she wasn't going to be the focal point. She was the third piece. Now that she's been separated, and you lose Jordy,
And
it's allowed her to rise.
She's kind of had the teacher, like the Queen, and well, if you say Shawnee's taken the Queen role for a bit, Shawnee and George, if she's watched it, she's got to be thinking, how the hell am I here with these two high flyers? So she's watched, and we've watched her evolve, and then like all of a sudden these big ass moves that she's making.
Right. And I think this episode in particular where like she develops that trust with that 3, because we have David going to talk with her. She feels very good with him, feels very good with Sam, feels very good with Nina. And I think that's going
the food chain a couple of episodes ago. Like, she's talking about progression.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
She's moved herself into a great spot. And we see that conversation of more solidifying that 4. And the only thing of note that I really have from the hero side is George does kind of say that he wants to try to pull in Matt. You get that conversation of him being their 5th. And I just love, I don't care if Matt is a nice bloke. I don't care if he saves people's lives. I only care whose side he picks.
Right. So pick a side. And Matt does try to negotiate. Who do you guys think is the second person? Because I don't believe he ever says something. Because he says, like, say I do join, would I be allowed to bring another? Yeah. And we can be a 7.
Don't we see George then get a little bit like...
He gets a little bit, but Shawnee's like trying to temper it. And she's like, oh, yeah, like you and a friend can both have a free ride. That's great.
Yeah, right.
Based on Matt's edit, I wouldn't be surprised if the person that he's talking about is Nina.
But I also believe that he could be out next episode because of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say David was my initial thought because they seem pretty tight and they haven't shown us anything from David at all. So it could be that. But then secretly, I thought it was Nina.
But I do, going back to the Liz of it all, I think that's going to be the friction that we have is now that she's with them again. I think she's trying to tell them, like, hey, we're about the merch. I am good with these three people. And I think when she mentions, like, Sam and David, I think George is going to immediately be like, no. These are the people that we're picking because I picked them. And Liz is going to be like, can you please value me? Me and my opinion and trust me.
Yeah, well, something's coming. Have you guys seen all that in America?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we got a little snippet of Liz questioning the king, I think.
Yeah, she was like, I'm over this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then
I can't have the Spice Girls end.
Yeah. No, it can't end. This takes us into the reward challenge, and we have some phenomenal quotes before it even starts. We have Flick coming in, and she gives Simon the death glare. And she says, war has been declared because Simon gave Sean a fake idol. Simon says, I don't know what's going on. And George says, that's very clear to all of us.
Yeah.
And then my favorite, because, that was kind of what we saw in the previews. But my favorite interaction was when he goes to Sean and he goes, you got played, Sean. 2 seasons in a row, you've been handed a fake idol. So congratulations.
Oh.
He has to dig at the biggest dude in the room.
I love it. As a fan of Survivor, I love it. The casual fans hate him. The fans that have watched every episode twice love him.
And that's the thing. I think George understands that, like, not everyone's going to love him. Like, there's going to be super fans that hate him. There's going to be casuals that hate him. But he's there to be a character, and he knows what he's doing. But I love that equally Sean continues to pivot and be like, no, I'm still the, like, good old Australian boy.
George.
He's just like, I'm not going to declare war. I think that's a little too messy for me to do for a silly game like this. But let's get into the challenge.
Yeah, so for the reward challenge, you're racing up and over a cargo net. At the top of the cargo net, there's a ring. You then, have a little bit of ways, and you're game of ring toss. And yes, Wayne, we will get to Stevie.
No, take those glasses off.
Take them off.
He wasn't wearing the glasses.
Take the here and take it.
Do Simon and
put
George
them on to
first.
take them off.
Yeah, so we'll blow through round 1. Doesn't really matter because it's Sean versus Matt. Sean wins. It's not all that exciting. Round two, Stevie versus Liz. And I do love as they're going out, you do have a quick, just brief quote from Shawnee. She goes, oh, a fish.
Oh, he's a fish now. Because he does his little dive.
Yeah.
But I also realized earlier in the season that he has like a hearing aid in his right ear. So like he has to take the hearing aid out. He has to take the glasses out. So he's literally doing all of this semi-deaf and blind.
But he says it. He goes, I couldn't see.
Yeah. Well, so you have it first. It's George has, the challenge gets off going, goes, look at Stevie go. He can't see a thing, but he's acting like it.
And I love that because he's blind, he's not focused on grabbing the ring. He just shoves his head through it.
What about when he jumps? He just does like a little baby dive, and Liz is just like, what the fuck?
And because she also like bumps like into her, and he's just running like a madman. She's like, what the hell?
And then he dives,
and he gets there, and like George is like talking George is like giving commentary, and he's like trying to say to Stevie, he's like, there's a giant pole. You're gonna need to throw it high. And he gets on the first try, eyes closed, hands in the air. Stevie wins.
Top moment of Survivor for me. Top moment when his head went through that ring. I was like, that's how you hack a challenge. Let's go. You're the Johnny Bananas of this season.
See, Stevie using his head.
No, you guys have missed the best bit. Stevie was amazing, but Liz's face, there was no hiding. She was so mortified. She didn't even care.
Well, like, it was like mortified, but also she's just like, all I can do is laugh. Like, what the hell's going on? But I think for her,
Happy by Stevie.
well, but I think the thing for her is that type of net, though, for her long, lanky like legs, that net is not a friend for you. Like, it's different for Sean, who's just like all like thick muscle, where you're just like her legs were getting tangled in it because they're small.
I am fangirling hard because
she's
like
great.
Stevie's like so up there as our fave, but Liz not hiding her being a world platform athlete.
Hey, she's really good at taking adversity like on the chin. Of like she takes her lumps, but she knows that she can like bounce back from it. And ultimately, she was going against an ally.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what? No,
and it's just the best. Stevie wins, and he goes, "I close my eyes."
Yeah, and now the grudge match.
Yeah. So the next one, Simon, he says he's going, and so you have George that raises his hand,
he's like,
being like, "I'll do this one." And so it starts up. When it goes over, Simon's in the lead. The ring falls, and George just takes it and chucks it backwards.
But as Johnny's namesake, turnaround's fair play.
Yeah.
And Simon gets an opportunity to return the favor. And I didn't like that the rest of the cast was like talking down on Simon there, because I was like, George literally just did it.
Yeah, George did it. Yeah.
Like, sure, Simon threw it farther, but
no, that goes to Liz because there's beef between those two. I think Liz was the only one that pulled a face like
all the heroes tribe was saying.
Oh, really?
Stuff.
Yeah. That was part of that like that Dodo like edit, or that was part of that, like they're throwing that in to make him look a certain way because they didn't need to show it. There's no reason. George, they literally like showed George throw in the ring and George didn't throw it as far or whatever. It's the fact of the matter. Once you see someone do that, you're like, I'm going to do that to you. Oh, it landed in my hand. See ya. Like I would have done the exact same thing as Simon did. I would have done the exact, if it literally landed in his hand, he's like, I don't know what to see, he threw it,
Yeah.
So
and then the next round sort of it's whatever. Sam wins.
It's Flick. Yeah. The only thing that you have is as they're getting ready to start, Flick tells Sam to throw the challenge.
Yeah, for the immunity challenge, take out Simon for me.
Yeah. So villains win. They win reward. They get the Chinese buffet. They send the heroes back off. And Shawnee goes, Jonathan, would you like to come over for dinner? I'm cooking.
And Jelly's just like, you know what? I got catering. I'm good.
No.
Just doesn't even toy with it.
Yeah.
I just love that they all have like this. They know they can talk to JLP like this.
Yeah. It is fun.
Yeah. We go back. We see the Chinese, reward or whatever, and you could cut the tension with a knife because I'm sure it was way more awkward than what we saw because I doubt anyone said anything for a while.
Yep. Agree.
And then I do. This is where I'm starting to turn a little more on Sam. Like it's like there's a little more comedy to it to me, and he's just like first whispers pretty loudly to Nina's like, "Should I address the elephant in the room?" And she goes, "Yes." And then he immediately goes, "Hey everyone, let's address the elephant in the room."
Still gets permission.
And this is where it's in my notes because we start seeing Simon's confessional where you see part of it and then it clips back and it keeps coming back to him or whatever. And this is where I have his confessional is heartbreaking. I feel so bad. Damn you, Chrissy. And he says, my chocolate chip of chaos is now a brown wooden circle of disappointment.
Oh, man. Everything has gone wrong for him.
Yeah. And it's just you can just see how miserable he is in that. He's sitting in the rain. He's at the bottom of the tribe.
But the one thing he's still holding on to is like, but I have to believe, like, Sean said it on his kids, and he has to realize I had full for my perspective, I only believed that this was an idol. I wasn't trying to trick it. Pan to Sean. He's like, well, the rule was it was an idol. It wasn't an idol.
I'm good to
All
go.
deals are off.
Yeah. So they talk about throwing it, but my favorite, another small moment in there is they're opening fortune cookies, and Sean is make the most of every minute with your family. He's like, that's a bit kick in the ass.
That was so good. But what's your thoughts on it? What's the theory behind it? What do you agree?
Well, Chrissy, do you think that they went and grabbed Simon when it was raining to come and give that confessional? Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. I just want to make sure. I was like,
I'll even go as far as to say it could have been a hose.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it's never raining. It's never raining, and that was the most like hey, it's raining. You just got screwed by this idol. Come talk about it, please. Can you come tell us?
Put a bit more water on it.
Yeah, I was just all right.
So you really look like a drowned puppy.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
Chrissy, were you asking something before that?
Yeah,
What
I
we
just
thought
want to
about?
know, like, because I'm a mum, and so a lot of people that I've spoken to about this, you know, like you swear on your kid's life, you can't do anything that jeopardizes that, because how would you ever live with yourself? But there's a but. The terms and conditions were that it was an idol. So this is a $500,000 comment. What are we thinking?
Well, I think I'm totally fine with Sean breaking it, and one of the big reasons is because at this point in time, not knowing that it was a non-elimination tribal, you break it, he's out pre-merge. No blood on your hands. There's nothing that can be used against you in a final tribal council because Simon's not there to go against it. It's like Simon didn't pull off his end of the deal, ultimately. Yeah. But I also don't have kids, so I really can't truly say.
Go, Wayne.
I do have a child, and I can say I fully agree with Sean. I will go a step further and to say, in the game of Survivor, if you saying I swear on my kid's life matters to get you further in the game, I'm like, I don't know, it's Survivor. Here's the deal, it's Survivor. It's Survivor. You know?
Yeah, and that saying is, if I'm lying to you, my kids are gone. Like, just think of that little thing you just patted off to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, two-time winner Tony Vlachos of US Survivor literally gave people rocks that were supposed to represent his kids. And he was like, you hold on to these. And then he would vote them out. Be like, oh, they were just clone rocks. They weren't the real kids.
See, so I thought the move that was more savage was it wasn't Tony, it was Sarah. So, and Sarah, for like Game Changers, I guess the first time she played, she had like a bracelet that was important to her.
Yeah. Oh, right. And she was giving bracelets out.
Yeah. And so between her, Brad and Troyzan, they all like exchanged their, you know, what was most important to them.
Right. Wedding
so
ring.
She was holding on to Brad's wedding ring and being like, if you screw me, you will never get this ring back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chrissy's in shock.
You guys are savage. The kids are going to die. I'm about it.
The kids are going to die.
No.
You guys are savage.
Sorry, I just had to bring up. Someone said, "Have you seen Sneaky Stevie's merch? It's absurd."
No, and Wayne will be buying all of it.
Yep. Well, let's see. What do I Google while you guys talk about the rest of this?
Okay, let's keep moving forward. we don't have Chrissy for much longer.
Yeah.
Go quick.
Yeah, so we go to the immunity challenge. It ends up being it's one-on-one, race out to a station, memorize the sequence of symbols. Once you have it memorized, you race back, recreate it, and, you know, reveal it. And I thought this is where Simon was going because in his first season, he was voted out on a challenge that he sat out on, and they threw it. And I was like, oh, no, it's going to happen to him again.
I want his specific thoughts as to what, like, was he even thinking about it until after he sounded that bench to be like, oh, crap.
Yeah. Oh,
like, no, crap. I don't reckon he realized based on the edit. And I don't tell you stuff that I'm not privy to.
Right.
I feel like he didn't think it at the beginning. And then at the end, when we see this, I think that's when it triggered. He's like,
when he's like, oh, no, this happened.
And I will say, I think as soon as what George gets like sort of like tunnel visioned here on the fact that he knows that once he sees that they're throwing, he's like, oh well, they're going to take out Simon, whatever.
Yes.
And without knowing what's happening, you don't know it's a non-limb. I think George should have countered and made his group throw and sent themselves back to tribal with a clear majority where Steve has zero incentive now to flip to Flick and Matt. You know, both of them don't have anything, and you can take out one of their numbers again.
Yeah.
And you protect Liz.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they do know that Liz has the idol, and for them, if we saw the conversation, so I'm thinking maybe, you know, it'll bear something down the road of trying to bring in Matt, because yes, it's keep getting rid of their allies, but they're still, if they were to go in right now, they don't have the numbers. Now it's Jordy and Shawnee, so I'd never count them out. But if you can try to even that up some way, I think that's the better play.
Well, I guess it depends how picky they want those numbers to be, because if Liz is coming to them saying, I have these people, and George says no, then it's sort of self-inflicted.
I still think it's Liz, Shawnee, George. I think Haley, if she's there at the merge, is one of their numbers. You don't think so, Alex?
The issue is the web that's being weaved here, because say the heroes go, or the villains tribe.
Yeah.
The villains tribe goes. I think Haley goes. I think if the heroes go, I think either Flick or Matt goes.
Yes.
And then you get there.
Yeah.
The issue you're going to have is the people that Liz was aligning with, those three are staring daggers at Haley.
Yeah.
And Liz now, I think Liz is a player that, like, once she creates a firm bond, I feel if she feels a type of way about George, you're now at the merge. Like, you're at a new point of game.
Yeah.
I could see her going to Shawnee and being like, Shawnee, we have this thing. This will get us to final five.
Yeah.
This will get us to final six.
I think Nina
George.
is going to end up working with that side, because Chrissy, you would know this better than I would. But in between your season and this season, Nina did take a trip over there and was with George quite a bit, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And she also had a good relationship with Simon, and I think that's also a factor into why they weren't really for the split on Liz and Simon, because I think Nina sees value in Simon as a friend and also as an asset in the game. 100%. So you take out the winner.
Yep.
Yeah. So we can run through the rounds real quick. Round one, George versus Sean. You can see that Sean's clearly throwing it. He's moving really slow, and George wins. Round two, it's Shawnee versus Liz, and you'd think that Liz would be on board with throwing it.
I don't think they told
Liz. Does win. Yeah, she actually does win. Round three, it's Haley versus Stevie. I love JLP. It's the hero's secret weapon.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's another throw by Haley. Stevie wins. And the last one, it's Nina versus Jerry. And, you know, Jerry ends up winning, but I have this here it's the moment you were talking about, Chrissy, where you can just see Simon on the bench just being like, oh no, like it's happening again.
I'm on my way out.
Yeah. His heroes
and you hear from JLP.
Yeah, it's JLP to Simon, and he goes, "It's because you sat out, brother." And Simon goes, "I'm terrified."
I was surprised he said that.
Yeah.
This episode, I will say there was a couple of things that JLP decided to mention that I was a little surprised that he would as the host, because it sort of gives information that I feel that players shouldn't be privy to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's his warning shot to Simon, being like, you're in trouble, bud.
Yeah. Because we go back to, Villain Beach. It's after the immunity challenge, and the obvious target Simon. But here, Alex, is this where you want to give your public apology to Sam, or?
It's not a public apology, but I just like the fact that he's willing to change his game. He's still gonna be a loyal player, but he's instead of just being full hero strong and I'm only gonna represent the heroes, I'm going to work with the heroes that I feel I can have trust in. Yep. Nina's giving me active trust. David's giving me active trust. I can rely on them. They didn't want to put my name down. They were sort of forced into it. I've always had targets on Haley. Sean's being shifty to me. Like, I like the fact that now we're seeing that Sam's like, I'm still not gonna say Sam's a great player, but I think Sam's like able to read certain things now, and I think it's sloppiness on Sean's part for being a little more comfortable in his position, thinking like, well,
Maybe.
we're all still good.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and then once I think it's important to show here of, Sam could have gotten it from anyone. Maybe David's the one that told him, but on screen, it's Nina that is the one that is telling Sam that Sean's lying to you.
Yep.
And you know what? I think this is the thing that breaks the camel's back, because something I just thought of right now is, I think this is Sam's awakening where he's like, I'm their Jerry. Like how I treated Jerry and how I thought us as a collective did in this smaller collective, I'm that.
Yep.
I'm the person that, like, when push comes to shove, it's my name that's going to be pushed out. It's my head that's going to be on the chopping block. And you know what? I don't like that feeling.
Yeah. So according, Sean and Haley, the plan's a 3-3-1 split on Simon, Liz, and Sam, in case, they do find idols, but we see that it's that coalition of 4 of Nina, David, Liz, and Sam to blindside Haley.
Yep.
And you know what? And what a epic, like, I love Haley. What an epic moment would it have been of her once again feeling so comfortable that she could throw a challenge, and then this is how she goes into pre-jury. But you know what? This season has told us one thing, is that when the dominant hero tribe goes to tribal council, there has to be some sort of non-elimination.
Yeah. Before we get in there, I did just really love this quote from Simon. He goes, "Some of the chaos from the cookie idol is really stitching me up here."
Yep. Stitch up. He's got
everyone has been saying stitch up. Jerry was saying it. George was saying it. Like, it's caught on.
Yeah. So we go to tribal, and this is the first Simon's doing a little bit of a role reversal here. It's like, JLP, you always ask the questions. I want to know what that effing cookie was.
And that's brilliant.
No, and JLP should have given him nothing.
Nothing.
It should have been nothing.
Nothing.
They don't have it on him.
They
there is no
essentially gave up that there is
person.
Yes.
They can't give it to him.
They're giving up that there is another idol
something out there.
And
Haley asked the specific thing of like, did you say it that way because it's already been found? And then he just goes, shrugs. I'm like, no, like, you can't be answered. You gave them too much info.
Yeah, you're right.
Agreed.
And I love JLP. This is not negative criticism.
I love that JLP did that because it saved Simon's ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think
no, it didn't, but
yeah, it really didn't. But it was just my issue is just always going to be you can't give them too much, and I felt like that was a little too much there.
Well, they're going out there now to look.
Right.
Oh, of course.
Like, I'm not even talking to anyone when I get back. I'm going, something is not right. Something's not fitting right.
And you know what? To save some ass, I feel like Liz should have just said right then. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's the one I found,"
and then shut it down.
So just drop it dead.
Yeah.
But
because the idol's public, everyone knows that she has it, and then she could just say, "Yeah, that's where I found it,"
and then she could go shopping. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did love Liz, some of her answers here or whatever, because you'll see sometimes when, you're in the minority, but you have this big blindside plan that they'll kind of blow up their spot and give it away at tribal council. But she does a really good job of being like, oh, like, I'm on the bottom with Simon. Like, who knows what could happen? It could go anywhere.
And she has like her resting bitch face on, so like she's not showing anything. And then as soon as like the main people turn away, she just looks back over at Sam and Davis, gives a little smirk, and then goes back into her serious face.
Yeah, this is where
she's
Simon
calls
where Simon calls himself a lone wolf,
a gun for hire.
Gun for hire. Sam is worried about getting votes, but then we have another twist because the Heroes tribe is coming into tribal council.
Yeah, and now you have, and this was labeled weirdly, because there's like, you have the chance of mutiny. No, this was a forced mutiny. Someone was going over.
Yeah. So as it goes, you're going up. If you don't want to mutiny to the other side, you just put a blank parchment into the urn.
We all knew what was happening here, right?
Yeah. If you do want to, you write your name down. If only one person says they want to mutiny, they just go. If two people say, you draw rocks to see who goes. And then if no one wants to mutiny, it was kind of unclear. They were going to draw rocks
And
to
I
decide
think
who has a chance to go.
so. I think there's a very important thing in the difference, and I think this was played. I would like to believe this was played very tactfully. You have Sean immediately whisper to Simon, like, I think you should go there and try to pull Simon or pull Stevie back into our side.
Yeah,
but you then have David who goes, mate, do you truly believe that going over there is better for your game? It's like all those people are mad at you. Like you are like even if you get Stevie back, the rest of them will vote you out. So you are better off staying here. And I think that's purposeful, not just so like, oh, we have an easy Simon vote. Mm-hmm. You have him there, and that alliance, that 3-person alliance can be like, oh yeah, we're all going to bank our votes on Simon. Simon's going to go. You then pull in Simon and be like, hey, we're taking out one of Haley or Sean. They've been gunning for you last round and this round. You would have been out. Which one do you want? And that's the way that you do it.
Yeah, you get rid of Liz, get her over to the other side, and now you've got a majority with the 3.
Yep.
Look at us giving David some props. We're giving Sam some props. Like when you finally get a good edit, it's like we can actually see what you're doing.
In David's case, it's an edit at all.
Yeah. As I say, we're imagining a lot of David's game just because he isn't really being given any
I am giving him way too much credit for what I said there, but like I'm gonna give it
to all Nina's game. Who knows? We don't really know.
Well, no, of course, above all else, we're giving all this credit to Nina.
Right, it's someone's game for sure.
And so they go and vote. Liz is the only one that shows she's mutinying, so she's going, and you see that quick conversation with Nina saying, you can tell them, but be careful who you tell.
That was
yeah, so good. And Sam and David were also on board. Like, hey, we will still be here for you.
Yep.
Like, if you can get them with us, we're on. Like, they were essentially all saying, like, we're game. We're game. We trust your judgment.
Yeah.
Which is so good. Such a good way to send someone, because you're always going to remember your last interaction with someone.
Yep.
And that's a very positive reaction to send Liz out on.
Oh, I thought the exact same thing. I thought, Nina, you clever little mouse. Like, just way to reinstate, you know, even if it goes pear-shaped, we've got you over here. We love you. Be safe. Nina's just keeping that merge dream alive.
But you know what? 4 weeks in, misses.
We do have, before we go, just want to have it's JLP's final zinger of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
One of the lost dogs found a new home. Question is the one that's left behind, will he survive or be put down?
You know what? Before we leave, I'm gun to your head now. Does he survive or does he get put down? I say he survives.
He makes the merge.
You mean
he merged.
The next episode?
Yeah.
He's making it to dinner.
He's gone to dinner, you reckon? So who? Okay, here we go, boysies. Let's play. I got to go. Who's not? If let's say we've got an upset Sunday night. Let's say something's going to happen because the ad's fantastic. You got to presume if it's end game merges Monday or Tuesday.
Yep.
My time. So let's go. Big episode Sunday. If it's merge Monday, who's not going to dinner?
I think I made my prediction. I think the hero tribe loses and Matt goes home.
Really?
I think
because he spent way too much. He spent way too much time with cold feet, and George will not have that.
I think it's Flick.
I was gonna say, Dan, I'm with you. I think it's Flick as well.
Because the way I see it, it has to be someone who has a smaller story, because I feel like they would have hyped it up more for the first episode of the new week if a big name was going right before.
But Flick hasn't had much of a story. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like Flick is also a good choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Terrible footage. Like, it's barely had anything. All right, so we got Maddie. I'm not happy about that. He just became a daddy.
He did. I saw the baby picture.
We got Flicky
Wayne.
and Wayne. Who did you say?
Yeah, no, I also think Flick.
Really?
Yeah.
A hero goes home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we merge.
And then we have dinner.
And then we have dinner.
Yeah.
And
Who's the
we'll
first-
have
who's-
us.
I can assure you that you're going to lose your mind.
Oh man.
Oh.
Next time we meet,
I'm sure.
this is how it's going to start.
I have a new thought now, but I'm not going to say it on here. Chrissy, I'll talk to you afterwards.
And then Dan will tell us afterwards as well.
Yeah.
But
I'm
what you
just
will
gonna
know,
remember this moment.
yeah, what you will know is we will all be back next Thursday, same time, same place, talking about this amazing season of Australian Survivor, Heroes v Villains. Dan, take us home.
Yep, like Alex said, back next week. It's 9:00 Eastern time here on Thursday night. We will be back. It'll be the three of us, and who knows, there may be an appearance from our fearless leader. We just need to see. We know he'll be back because he's going to be at the viewing party that's going to be on Wednesday night, but we'll keep you posted. But same time next week. We appreciate you again for, all the continued support. Please go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube, as well as wherever you listen to your podcast. Just, give us that 5 stars. Say that, you love Chrissy, you love Wayne's commitment to Stevie, you love Alex's takes on Sam, whatever it may be. And the glasses, you love the glasses, the props that we bring. Just give us that 5-star review.
Alex, put your glasses on.
Review.
Wayne.
And as always, the best way.
Screenshot.
I'll post this later, the screenshot. As always, the best way to support the podcast is become a patron at realitypatron.com. Thank you all so much. We love you all, and we will see you next week.
And for more bonus content, go to realitypatron.com. That's right, become a patron now. Get additional coverage of all your favorite shows, the weekly Q&A, and you become a member of the secret, exclusive Facebook group. That's realitypatron.com.